Hey guys, first of all, happy Halloween. It's October 31st here, and today I'll be going over this Moog Opus 3 for Josh, who owns this little thing. And so Josh, I'm going to go over it to show you that everything's functional, and for anybody else that's curious about the Opus 3, feel free to watch. I'll be going over kind of how it works and some of the sounds of it. But anyways, Josh, I'll start off just by walking around and let you see this thing. I'll put back together here. Condition the wood. Clean the chassis really good. This thing was so dirty. This is probably one of the dirtiest little synths I've had in here in quite a while. The key was just nasty, and it stunk like urine. It had an odor, and so what I did is I put it and I fumigated it, and I got rid of all the smells, and it actually worked. I got rid of all those odors it had, and then I washed everything. I took the key bed apart. I did a very, very slight mix of Clorox just to help kill any bacteria that could have been in this thing, because I don't know what that smell was, and I don't really want to know. But I got it cleaned up. But also I did try some detergents or some special stuff I use, and it's some really strong stuff. And I could not get these markings off the keys. And I'm guessing these things have been on here for so long that it's actually absorbed into the plastic, because it just will not come off. And I use some very high, some very strong stuff. And if it don't take it off, then there's not much that will. And so unfortunately, I don't know what could be done for all these markings. But besides that, everything else turned out really nice. I replaced the one broken switch you had here. You had the one of these broke, and I had a new old stock, so put your new old stock switch in there, and it just turned out really nice. You can see the nice looks of it. There's a few little dents and dings in the wood. That's going to happen on a instrument this old. But clean the back panel up real good for you, so it's all clean, and you can just see how nice that looks. Much different than it was on arrival. And also, one note is you don't have a serial number. I couldn't find the serial number. It's been evidently ripped off or something. And so I don't know really what the serial number is of this unit. But besides that, it's really great. It's a really great little unit. And let me put the camera on the tripod here, and I'll just walk you through the sounds and kind of give you an idea how this thing actually works. So what the Opus is it's really a lot different from any other Moog. And I say that because it uses a completely different chip set. It uses a lot different stuff. It is a divide down architecture. But really what the Opus is it is a string machine and an organ. That's really what it is. And it uses the exact same principles as some of the old Crumars and some of the other stuff. And what it does is it uses what they call a gated divider. And what that is, it's a divider chip, and it's a lot different from the Polymoog in the sense that these dividers they're called gated dividers. And what that does is that means they don't have an output until they have a voltage input. So you'll have a frequency going into the chip, but there's a control line that actually allows the frequencies to come out. And it's like a VCA, so to speak. So then that's actually how these work. They have the keyer circuits for the keyboard connect to the chips, and that's how it actually drives out the frequencies. So when you hit a note, actually the keyer circuit is turned on whatever note that is for the divider, and it's sending out the footages. And basically each chip has a certain amount of footage. So each chip has the same footage basically, and each chip produces a 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1 footage. And then you can control them in a mixer, basically is how it works. So it comes out of the chip as all the footages, and then it goes to a mixer where you can actually select what footage you want to actually hear. And so it's a really neat concept, and what is kind of cool about it that's different from most things, it is using still kind of a VCO setup to drive the top octave. So you got pitch bends, you got modulation, you got all this nice stuff that happens. But then what it does is from there, it comes out of the main board, and then it goes into each section. So each section is getting the exact same frequency drive for each section. So for instance, the strings are a reference to the same main frequency generator. Kind of like what you find on some of the other synthesizers of this era with strings and stuff. But anyways, what we'll do, we'll start first. I'll just go over the organ first, because the organ is the rawest form of the divider circuit. And so right now we got all the divisions down. So you got a footage mix, which these are kind of like drawbars. And so we'll just start here, and you can hear it. You don't hear anything. So I'll bring up 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1. So there's your footages. Something like that, and that's what drives every section. But that's just the main section, and you do have a tone source here where you can shape this. You've also got a frequency modulation. Also cool as you got a delay circuit, so we can actually, this is going to the LFO section, you got a delay, so you can actually make this have a delayed modulation, which is kind of nice. So also got a pitch bend because it is a voltage controlled oscillator. So anyways, that's the organ section. It's real simple. It's just basically a setup of footage ranks and goes into a mixer. Now the chorus, however, the strings, is a very, very awesome piece of this instrument. And it's really what makes this thing amazing, because it's using actually a true analog chorus effect with 3 stages. So it's a Bucket Brigade 3-stage chorus using the SAD 512s, which are super rare chips, but they just sound great. And I mean, it's very Arp-Selena as far as the way it sounds. It's got a very Arp-Selena-like tone to it, but you got extra controls that you don't have on Arp-Selena, which is really nice. So you can do some stuff that's a little different. So right now, I'll go first to show you what the strings are. So here we are through the chorus. The strings are always through the chorus. Unless you have the mixer slide, you can actually put the chorus into the organ or through the actual little string section here, which is basically, it's got a resonator. And it's like one section of the resonator of a Polymoog. And you got a low setting, a band setting, and a high setting for the type of passing it has. And you also got a footage, so it uses basically 2 footages of the divider circuit, which is 8 and 4 or both. And so just to give you an idea what this sounds like. So that's the low pass, the band pass. As well as the high pass. Then you got a footage of 8, 4, and both. And then what's really cool about it is, like I said earlier, the chorus you have control, so you can control the depth. As well as the speed. So we can go to a slower speed. Also cool, the same thing you have for the frequency modulation, you can actually put a delay on just the chorus. So we'll have a delay. As I mentioned earlier, you can send the organ into the chorus. So if we slide the slider here, so really cool sound. And but that's the string section, and then you got the brass section, which we'll go to preset mode first. And what this is actually a Moog transistor ladder, and it has a preset mode, which basically makes it have a contour that's set up. It's a fixed contour that have a brass-like sound, so you get something like this. Turn it up to a little bit. Something like that, and you got an 8, a 16, an 8. And same thing, it's kind of like a polymoog. You do have just one VCF that's tied to all keys. But when you go to variable mode, that's when this thing becomes really cool, because now you got control of an extra contour just for the filter, as well as the cutoff frequency and emphasis. Really great sound filter. And I got a delayed frequency modulation there as well. But now you can combine the sections together and it gets really cool. So we'll just combine everything together. Now the chorus is always a lot quieter. That's normal. Every instrument I've ever had of this, the chorus is always the quietest. So I usually always have it turned up at the max level here at the mixer. I always use the organ and VCF volume control to offset it. So you get something like this with all sections. Also do is, because you're using the 8 and 4 of the strings, you can turn down the 8 and 4 here in the organ, and since you're using the 16 in the brass or the VCF, you can have the organ just doing 2 and 1, so you get something like this. Idea how that works. And what's nice about it too is you have a 2 modes of contour as well, which is kind of handy, and I'll show you how those work. So we'll just go back to the just the string section. We'll make a slow attack. And right now, as you can hear, whenever I let off a note, it's going to reset the keyers. So Well, if we go to mode 2, that's going to make it not reset the keyer circuits. So you get something like this. When you have a long release time, it can get really muddy really fast because it's never going to reset the keys. But it's fantastic depending on how you play, because this is like your typical string machine where you have this build up and you can't really control how the amplifier works. But on this particular instrument you actually can, because you have that reset. So we go to reset. It's really handy for doing those kind of fast riffs. So if we go, play down. So you kind of see how that works, and it's actually really handy having those mode selections, because sometimes you want those long drones, and sometimes you really don't want it to reset, especially when you're doing a whole transposition of your hands. But also just show you here the actual contour works really well now, and I replaced all the capacitors on the keyer so they're all well balanced, which means they're all going to have a very similar release and attack times. Anyways, you get the idea of how nice and flexible this thing is. It's got a really good sound, and for it being as little as it is, I mean, it has got a very impressive sound. And what's else really cool about it is you actually got a stereo output, and you can pan the sections left and right. You got actually a pan slider for each section, and so actually I've got a personal one. Well, I like to keep the chorus in the middle. I'll pan the organ to the left a little bit, and I'll pan the VCF to the right. And you can get this really, really warm and thick, and it just wraps around you, the sound. But especially with this chorus absolutely just sounds fantastic. It's a really good sounding chorus. But one thing I will show you right quick, because I didn't really go over the modulation section real deep, but I'll just kind of show you how the ranges are of the frequency and amount and the actual frequency control. So we'll just go with one footage here. So you can hear that it says your zero. also got the delay time, so we'll set the delay all the way at the max here, and we'll put up the modulation so it's really a lot of modulation amount. That's your modulation section, and you can just kind of hear how that works. But anyways, Josh, really do appreciate you letting me work on your Opus 3 for you, and for everybody else that watches my videos, appreciate you watching, and there'll be more videos to come. Take care, and happy Halloween.